Hello everyone and welcome back. So, I've been thinking a lot about Total War 40K. It might be a while, but there's a few things that could be discussed. Like, for example, some strengths that it will have over Warhammer Fantasy. So, as you are aware, Total War Warhammer has existed now for 10 years, and it has suffered with certain aspects, like obviously not a lot of new armies, so new ones had to be created from scratch, which could delay products, or can't really be expanded upon. The Vampire Coast is absolutely amazing, but it's not really going to get new DLC unless Games Workshop see the value in it and Creative Assembly see the value in it too, which triggers a collaboration which can be a bit slow. Kislev and Cafe have gotten DLC, but it did feel like they were scraping the bottom of the barrel, just trying to get whatever possible, as they're still kind of in the early days, and we know that Games Workshop takes a while for the creation of new units for certain factions. Hell, on the tabletop for Grand Cafe, we still don't really have more than half, I think, at the moment, of the character options or even unit options available for those armies. We don't even have Kislev yet, which is really sad, because I am dying to paint up some Bear Riders. And this is because Warhammer Fantasy was dead. Warhammer the Old World is basically its revival, but it's a new IP. It does take a while to get the gears going. We have gotten some new stuff, but it hasn't been as much as some people have hoped. I'm just happy that we've got our old models back. You know, buying a big box of 40 goblins is awesome, right? Well, at least to me it is. I know this might not seem like it's very relevant, but it is, because at the end of the day, the IP needs to support the video games. And then we've got Warhammer 40K, right? The IP for Total War 40K is probably the most supported there is right now. It slowed down a little bit because it's a brand new year, but Games Workshop are already starting strong by announcing brand new mutilators. Very, very cool, and I'm really annoyed that this wasn't released last year during the so-called Year of Chaos. But stuff like this is going to allow for not only a lot of new units for the tabletop, but stuff that can easily be translated towards Total War 40K. Remember that how it works here is there'll be brand new factions coming out on a regular basis, really, and those could easily be turned into DLCs. Those could easily be translated in, and it's going to mean much more support. I mean, very recently, Games Workshop have announced the redo of the Red Corsairs. They had rules in the past, but now they're going to get something really new. So Huron, a bunch of characters, and also some raiders, which, again, cool. I'm a big fan of the Red Corsairs. I can't wait for whenever these release, because I would love to paint these up. But you can bet that Creative Assembly would likely look towards that, you know, getting a new thing going, sub-faction, because they should play hopefully different to Warriors of Chaos, the Chaos Space Marines. See, I've still got that fantasy brain in there, but they should play differently to the standard Chaos Space Marine factions, because the Red Corsairs are a bit more focused around being, well, pirates. Keeping on the theme of the Chaos Space Marines, the Iron Warriors look like they're finally going to get their own codex to separate them from the standard stuff. Maybe it's just going to be like a small booklet like they did for the Loyalist Legions, I think during 8th or 9th? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But again, this is going to show some unique stuff. We've already seen a pretty cool looking character, a very, very interesting looking Warsmith. And in theory, those will play differently. They'll likely want to implement these as DLCs, because there's a lot of fans of Iron Warriors or Red Corsairs or whatever. Don't worry, we're not just going to be talking about Chaos. I'm just a big Chaos fan. But as closely as possible. This is a cross-marketing dream that Games Workshop would have always wanted, which, as you can tell, if you go through Warcom, they're pushing 40K with Dawn of War 4 quite hard, because again, those big trailers will translate into people wanting to buy the minis. You might not think it's quite high, but yeah, it is fairly high from what I can see. I mean, hell, I know a lot of people who got into 40K minis just because of, like, Dawn of War. So imagine what a huge game like Total War could end up doing. New additions will bring in new units for separate factions. This is something that happens on a 3-year cycle. We've had 10 years of support for Warhammer Fantasy. I could easily imagine maybe even 15 years of support for 40K, depending on how that goes. There are rumors that there's going to be a new edition this year, and again, it falls under the 3-year cycle. That means some new Space Marines, which, by the way, if you're just getting into the 40K universe, There's a lot of Space Marine bias, and I mean like loyalist stuff, not chaos. But whoever they fight against usually comes in with a box with brand new minis, so if it ends up being Necrons, which I very much doubt, it could end up being Orcs. There have been rumors about loads of factions, so I have no idea. The constant trend of new models is quite high. They have suffered delays and stuff, but in general, 40k gets a lot of new stuff. Who knows what the next new faction will be? I mean, right now the Leagues of Votange just got a second round, so I mean, that's kind of cool. And there's people calling for a Dark Mech faction. I guess the new faction will be Iron Warriors, right? Kind of like a small thing with a few new unique units, something along the lines of what happened with the Khorne stuff. Or even the Emperor's Children. Yeah, sure, it's not a lot of new units, but it's enough for people to sink their teeth into. I mean, I like what I've seen so far about the Emperor's Children, barring the fact that most of my demons are gone. Which, yeah, not fun. But as you can imagine, that stuff will translate over. They're going to do Emperor's Children. They're going to do the World Eaters. That stuff is way too easy not to make. The constant influx of new material is going to allow for the DLC practices to be a lot better. And I'm not talking about this as how this could be a DLC farm. I mean, we already know it's going to be, but it means that we're not really going to face shortages of possible content. This could potentially be good for Creative Assembly and Games Workshop, and for the player base too, if they're consistent enough. And we do have to talk about a few things, because obviously we know, there's so much stuff coming. The problem here, and I think needs to be addressed, is right now Creative Assembly is just slowness. And it does kind of worry me a little bit. Like, I'm excited for Med3, I'm excited for 40k, but I'm kind of just wondering how much they're going to be able to work on this. Like, Warhammer 3 support has not been great, and it's something, again, that needs to be reminded, because we don't want this problem to arise again and again and again, right? They can't make the same mistakes that they've done for the past few games into the new ones. At that point, I think people are going to start losing interest, and yes, I have seen people losing interest there. There's a lot that can be done with 40k. Clear roadmaps would be wonderful, roadmaps that don't change. This is something that, while the strength is there, there are a few other weaknesses. But I think those weaknesses can be overcome if the company is willing to see where the money is coming from. This is a fan base, of course, that wants to throw money at Creative Assembly, but only if the product is good, which, I mean, hell, that's just a basic want, and, well, it's a basic need that companies need to supply. From the point of view as a long-time Warhammer fan, not just fantasy, but I do like 40k too, there is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff coming out lately. It's endless amounts of possible content. I could see this game having a lot more support than Warhammer 3 if Creative Assembly wake up a little bit. And it could be interesting. And I guess we got to keep our eyes open towards like 11th edition and stuff, see how that goes. I'm just hoping that, the very strong emphasis on tournament play gets played down a little bit, because I don't like turn 2 games. They're not fun to me. A lot of people play very heavy kill lists, and it's boring. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of discussion. I do apologize, I'm late today. I finally went to the doctor's, got my prescriptions and everything. It's just having all my stuff sent over from Gibraltar up to UK. Wild. Absolutely wild. My medical history took so long. I'll be streaming live on twitch.tv/thegreatbook of Grudges, playing some Chaos Dwarfs. You want to pop by, say hi. But if not, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye.